Okay, Jamal Nye's here with Saul Rogers, Elite Boxing Gym in Bolton. How are you doing today, Saul?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thanks for taking the time out to come and speak to me.
So, obviously you've just come off the back of ACB 54, that was your last fight. What's brought you here to the change of environment?
For a while, I've been wanting to work on my striking. You know, it's been a big part of the game. I've always struggled to kind of incorporate it into what I want to do, but after that last fight, I just thought, you know what, enough's enough. I'm going to kind of improve on what I need to do, and a lot of my training partners train here, State, Sando, all of that. I know it's one of the best gyms, or if not the best gym around this area by far anyway. So I've come training with Usher, and honestly, I've only been here a short space of time, but the vast improvements I've seen in this short space of time is crazy.
So do you see this place being an integral part of your training camps in fights to come?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I'm up here now, I think 3 or 4 times a week. 3 is a minimum at the minute. I mean, my wrestling's always been bang on, you know, my grappling's been bang on. I feel like the missing piece of the puzzle was the striking. I mean, it's not to say I'm a bad striker, but I didn't showcase it or have the confidence in the fights to showcase it as well as I knew I can kind of throw it. So being around here with these boxers, training, putting the work in day and day out with these guys is not only improved me on the technical aspect, but the confidence aspect too. And I think confidence and having that mental edge is just as important as the technical edge, you know.
Now, are you currently in negotiations with a promotion? Like, what is your situation with ACB at the moment? What upcoming fights are you looking for? Because you've tweeted Paddy Pimblett, he said he's interested. Is that the fight you want at the moment?
At the minute, I'm contracted with ACB. Paddy was saying he needed a guy to fight or no one would step up or whatever, so I just thought me and Paddy would be a great fight, you know. He's a young, motivated kid. He's a good talent, regardless of the shit people say after a loss. It's funny, like everyone comes out after a loss, oh, this guy's shit. The same after I lost, you know. But everyone's kind of riding your nuts, you know, when you're winning. And I thought the fight with Paddy makes sense, you know. He's a good fighter. I'm coming off a loss, he's coming off a loss. And mine and Paddy's name's always kind of been up there with some of the best guys in the UK. So I thought that's a fight that makes sense, you know. I'm after the big fights, I'm after the good fights now. In the past, I've always had the problem with I was fighting to get in the UFC or fighting for this or fighting for that. Now I'm fighting because I enjoy fighting. I'm happy, you know. I've put in a grueling session this morning. I've come here a couple of hours later, put in another grueling session. You know, I'm not doing this now just because I have to or because it's going to get me to this next place. I'm doing it because I want to and I enjoy it. So I think that's the difference now. I'm happy, and a happy fight is a very dangerous one.
Exactly. I completely agree with what you just said. Now, we're just touching upon the experience last time, because I have a feeling that was one of the most testing experiences in the build-up to a fight that you've had, probably the most troubling that you've had. Can you just talk us through that?
Yeah. See, since that last fight, no one will put anything out where I've made one excuse from the fight, you know. Yeah. The better man won on the night, I'll say that, you know. I didn't turn up, I had a bad night in 4.5 years. I don't want to kind of delve into the reasons I performed that way. All I should say is the fight shouldn't have happened, really. But it did. I got in there, I lost. I'll take that on the chin. I'm not taking anything away from Ariel, but he's not on my level. He's not. He got the win, fair play, but I had a bad night. That was it. Again, I'm not going to make excuses of why it went that way. It went that way. It is what it is. Let the man enjoy his win. But he knows, and I know, and everybody else knows, I'm the better fighter than him. Yeah, I'll fight him 100 times. Yeah, and 100 times that won't happen again, you know. I won't allow myself to let that happen again. But like I say, the fight happened, I lost, I'm a big boy, I deal with it, and it's time to move on to the next thing now. Put that behind me, you know. I'm going to get no benefit of kind of dwelling on that bad performance. But the thing is, it's like that was my first loss in coming up to 5 years towards the end of this year, yeah. And I've run through every guy they've faced. I fought ex-UFC guys who've moved on to the UFC, you know, guys who are currently in the UFC. I'm fighting high-level guys, the same in tough and all that other kind of stuff. I never shy away from a tough fight. And again, to have one bad night in 4.5 years, I think that's good going. So the guys who kind of count me out after that last performance, all well and good. I hope they do, because when I come back through and I start ripping through everybody else, I mean, they'll soon be back hugging me, you know, oh, you're the best and all this other kind of stuff that you see time and time again. So I'll let them enjoy the minute where they slate me and all that other kind of stuff. But believe you me, my next performance is going to be a devastating one.
I think people, like you said, are quick to judge on a fighter after a loss. But one more thing, we're not going to, like you said, we're not going to dwell on it. But you had multiple opponent changes on the week of the fight. You had an opponent change. Oh, you see in UFC, Tony Ferguson declined to fight Michael Johnson the day before when he was supposed to fight Khabib. No one turns a blind eye to that. You stepped in the cage, showed courage, and you were humble in defeat. You're humble in victory or defeat, and you run a 6-fight win streak before that fight. So, you know, as a fight fan, I'd like to, you know, put my metaphorical hat off to you, because so many people would have declined the opportunity to fight on a day's notice to someone that they would know very little about. You would, I doubt that you had any footage to sort of revise on your opponent.
Do you know what? I was scheduled to fight one of their main guys. Basically, I think it was like a title eliminator. So I fight one of their top prospects. The winner of that gets the title fight against Abdul Aziz, I think it is, or was at the time, I'm not sure. I think, yeah, still Abdul. What happened, basically I was matched with this guy, he pulled out, Pat Healy steps in, Pat Healy pulled out, then another guy, I think Thomas Webb or something like that, he steps in, he pulled out, another guy stepped in, he pulled out. My last option was Ariel. They said, look, he's a welterweight, it's the first time he's making lightweight, maybe give him a little allowance on the weight, all that other kind of stuff. I think it was a couple pounds over, I can't remember, maybe 3 pounds or kilo and a half heavy, I don't know. But yeah, I think I was a bit naive at the time, you know. I should have looked at the severity of the whole situation. Look, this is a big guy. The camp didn't exactly go how I wanted it to go. You know, what are the reasons I was doing this fight, which was money, basically. Need the money to fight, and then you know, again, the fighter's life is a hard life. So I should have kind of took a step back, looked at it from kind of an objective point of view, you know, and thought, do the rewards outweigh the risk, you know? Because if I would have beat Ariel, like, people are like, oh, you beat the guy whose record's not the best anyway, do you know what I mean? So I should have kind of just took a step back and thought, this fight is not the best fight for me at this moment in time, you know? And the money situation and all that other kind of stuff would have just come with it. Things turn up, things work out, do you know what I mean? Like, after that fight, I'm back sorting, I've sorted all that situation, I've sorted my camp, I've sorted the home life, you know, my little boy's settled in now and all that other kind of stuff. So in hindsight, it's a beautiful thing. I probably shouldn't have fought, but again, like I say, I'm a big boy. I fought, I lost, Ariel won, fair play, but it won't be happening again.
Now, if we just rewind to the beginning of your career, I want to know, as a fight fan, because the sport has only just really taken off in the mainstream eye in the past couple of years. How does a young guy from Farnworth get into the sport of MMA? Like, what was sort of your first experiences of being introduced to the sport?
Do you know what? The first time I ever heard about the UFC or anything like that, I was working. I'm a plumber by trade as well, you know. I used to be a plumber for 6-7 years. I can't remember. I hated it. But I opened, I think it was like a Sun newspaper or one of the crap tabloids at the time, or what's still going anyway. And it was, I can't remember the fighters' names, but it was like front page, footballers watch why a man gets beaten and blooded and all that other kind of stuff. That was the image they was portraying of the UFC at that time. And fast forward now, 10 years on, it's a different sport. It's mainstream, you know. I can stop the average person in the street and ask them, do they know about UFC and all that other kind of stuff? And 9 times out of 10 they'll say yes. So it's come crazy far in short space of time. But at the back of seeing that kind of picture, a local MMA club opened up in my area where I lived. I didn't have a clue what MMA was, all that other kind of stuff. So I've gone down to that local gym. Looking at it now, I don't think I was being taught MMA, you know, or like a very vague depiction of what they thought MMA was anyway. I did it, I fell in love with it, and then one of the guys I was training with plumbing, he was like, there's a gym up where I am. That was Coliseum Mixed Martial Arts at the time. I went over to Coliseum, and again, I was there for years. I had a great amateur career at Coliseum and the start of my pro career too. And yeah, that was the gym for me. and then after that I kind of moved on to SBG, and then fast forward I'm where I am today.
Now, you were part of Team McGregor's Ultimate Fighter Team Europe versus Team USA series. You got to the final. You know, you beat the best of the best. Can you talk about the moment you found out that you were going to be part of that series? What was going through your mind?
I think it was my coach at the time who got the email. Basically, I was lucky actually. I didn't have to go and do the trials. What thousands of other guys do, you know. I was dreading having to turn up in a suit and roll like some of the guys did, or dressed as women, and you know, all that other crazy stuff, you know, to get noticed. Flew us over to Vegas on invitation. I think there was me and 8 guys. Made sure we was all right, passing our interviews and medicals and all that other kind of stuff. And that was it. So it was a whirlwind. Within a month, I think, of finding out you might be selected. The issues with our tickets, visas, all that, over to Vegas. We did our interviews. They was happy. They liked us all. They brought us all back, and yeah, the rest is history. I fought to get on the show, and everyone knows what happened on the Ultimate Fight. You know, I was the only guy to win all 4 of my fights on the show. You know, no other guy on the show did that. And again, yeah, I let unlucky in the finale. I didn't compete in the finale. But for me, I feel like I need a little closure on that. You know, whereas before, like I said, after Tough, every fight I was concentrating on getting me back to the UFC, you know. So basically, I'm fighting for Dana, or fighting for this, watching how they performed, how I performed, and I feel like that really hindered how I performed in a fight. Whereas now, like I say, I'm fighting just for me, and I'm fighting because I enjoy it, and I'm fighting because I love it. And I think you're going to see a ruthless guy in that cage, you know. I'm going to be relentless, and I'm going to destroy anyone they put in front of me. And believe me, I say that from the depth of my heart. Like, the next guy they put in front of me, I'm absolutely going to run through, because I'm fighting for me now, so I'm free, if that makes sense, you know. I'm fighting just because I love it, so that's why I'm so I can't wait to get in, you know. I can't even find the word to describe it, yeah, but like this feeling inside, like I've never felt like this before, like never. So when I tell you it's going to be a special performance when I get back in there, believe you me, it is.
Do you feel like the things that you felt potentially have set you back, like the Ultimate Fighter thing, are kind of a blessing in disguise? Because since then, the free agent market has just absolutely boomed. You've got guys like Rory McDonald going into Bellator, ACB's becoming absolutely massive. You got European promotions like KSW. You've still got Cage Warriors going strong. Promotions like Tanko coming up. It really is becoming apparent to the hardcore MMA fans that the UFC really isn't the be-all and end-all. I mean, what are your opinions on that?
The thing with the UFC is they've got this prestige kind of aura about them, you know, because like, whether people like to believe it or not, that's where the best guys in the world are. And I'm not saying some high-level guys or guys that are not capable of being world champion in the UFC anyway are not fighting elsewhere, because I know they are, you know. But as a fighter, as a true fighter, you know, it's like a footballer over here, you know. They want to get to the Premiership, you know. As a fighter, you want to get to the UFC because you're seeing that as a Premiership, and that doesn't mean you're dismissing all the other promotions off, you know, and you're saying these are not as good. But from a personal aspect, I feel like the UFC is like where the best of the best are, or a high volume of the best, you know. So I always thought, like, you'll get to the UFC, that's the feather in the cap and all that other kind of stuff. But again, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it. And like you say, I feel like everything happens for a reason. Yeah. If I would have gone into the UFC straight off Tough, from a personal stance, I don't think I was ready mentally, emotionally, physically, you know. I don't think I was at that level. So me from Tough now, I feel like I'm at a much better place. You know, if the UFC thing happened, oh well and good, yeah, that's great. And I feel like I'm a lot more equipped, a lot more prepared to kind of deal with everything that surrounds it. Not just the fights, but everything else that comes part and parcel. So yeah, I do believe it was a blessing in disguise, because after that as well, I had the birth of my son and all these other kind of crazy things that's kind of happened around it. So again, everything happens for a reason. If I never get to the UFC now, I've made peace with that. Like, whereas before it was like that was all I could think about. Now if it doesn't happen, I can still sleep at night, you know. I'll still be content with how my life's panned out. So, and I feel like that's what's going to make the difference with me and a lot of these guys who are still hung up on fighting for the UFC. Because I feel like hold you back in a lot of your performances. So some guys can go the opposite way. It might kind of give them that boost. But for me, I feel like no, free. This is how I need to be. Just a free fighter. Not as in free as in the way of just I can kind of conduct, express, and perform the way I want to be without having to feel like I'm being judged or watched by anybody else. You know, it's a bit of a crazy statement because you are literally being judged and watched by everyone, but like from a personal point of view, I mean.
You have big wins over Artem, he's faced Cub Swanson in the recent UFC Fight Night main event. You beat him on a few years ago, didn't you? Like 5 years ago, you beat him. You beat Marcin on the Ultimate Fighter, the Polish Zombie. He's now KSW featherweight champion. I mean, how testing were those performances, and how do you feel about the opportunities that Artem's getting now? Do you feel like he's solely getting those based off like riding McGregor's coattails that a lot of people seem to think?
Do you know what? This game, whether people like it or not, I think your record and your performances don't matter nowhere near as much as who you know, and that's not having to dig at anyone, because anyone who gets any of these decent opportunities, a lot of the guys they've let lucky, you know. The same with me doing the Ultimate Fighter. Like if I would have got through and I have this kind of wonderful UFC career off that, let lucky, you know, I was lucky I got called up with the interviews and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's opportunity. If you look at Artem's resume, he's fought the best of the best. He's never shied away from a tough fight. So even though his record's not up there with some of the best guys in the UFC, who can deny the guys he's fought? Like, you name any top 10 guy, you know, in the UK, that guy's fought him, yeah, and a lot of the time he's knocked him out, you know. So the guys who are saying, yeah, he's riding off McGregor's coattails and all that, maybe McGregor's given him the opportunity, platform to kind of perform, but he's put that work in, yeah, he's grafting in the gym, he's fought some of the best guys. I mean, he's fought better guys than probably I fought, he's fought better guys than anyone in the UK has fought, you know, because the tough guys, the tough fights, what nobody else wanted to fight, he took them fights. So I'm not going to kind of do Artem a disservice and say he doesn't deserve to be in there. His last performance against Cub proved he deserved to be in there, you know. So, like I say, each to their own. He's got that opportunity to showcase what he wants to do, and hopefully that will happen for me or the other guys in the future. So, the guys who kind of say, oh, it's only through McGregor and it's only through this and only through this, are the guys are literally the couch potato fans. They sit at home and they don't really know much about MMA. The guys who've been around a long time and they know the level of opponents he's fought and the level of opponents he's knocked out, they're not the ones saying he doesn't deserve to be in there, you know. He went 5 rounds with Cub, 5 rounds with Cub, you know what I mean? So exactly, so I think that stands testament that he does deserve to be in there, you know.
Now, since Conor's come into the UFC, the MMA, I feel like from a personal point of view that the MMA world has put a lot of pressure on the element of trash talking being within the build up to a fight, and the idea that it won't sell, people won't want to tune in if there's no animosity between the opponents. Now, me and you both know you would know as a fighter yourself, and I would know as a long-time fan, that is not an integral part of me wanting to tune into a fight and you wanting to be a part of one. Being a part of the Ultimate Fighter, how genuine was that experience? Did you find out that a lot of things were built up for the cameras to sort of get viewers to tune in?
Do you know what? I've had this conversation with 1,010 people now. I'm not contracted with the UFC or with the Ultimate Fighter or anything like that. I have no reason to lie. Anything that gets put on that programme is what happens. There is no one behind the scenes saying, do you know what, Saul, if you start to do this or you start to do this, then it's going to make for great TV. Literally, they tell you the complete opposite. When I was in the Ultimate Fighter, they were saying they've had seasons where people have, excuse my language, pissing in each other's cereals and all this other kind of stuff, you know. And when we went in the UFC, they were saying, don't do none of that, you know what I mean? Don't be fucking about with guys, especially the food or when they're sleeping and all that kind of stuff. So they're telling you the opposite. So the ones who sit on the sidelines and say, oh, it's corny, it's set up, and when kind of had a few scuffles with Cody and all that kind of stuff, that's not scripted, that's not set up, that's... When you're sat there, you can feel that inside, you can feel that tension in the air, so none of that scripted. And again, it does make for good TV, but I only think it makes for good TV when it's genuine. And the problem is with a lot of guys who are trash talking now, I don't feel like it's the trash talking that's the problem, you know. They're trying to get themselves noticed, but you can be a nice, humble guy. For me personally, I feel like I'm a humble guy. I'm down to earth, you know. I try and make time for as many people as I can, and I feel like you can get just as far off that as opposed to trash talking, you know. People just want to see the real you. So if you are a trash talker, or when they go trash talk a fight up and kind of sell yourself that way, if you're a nice, humble family guy, go down that route. As long as people can kind of relate or they see it as a genuine side of you, then you'll build it. All these guys that are doing this fake trash talking and fake call-ups and all this other stuff for attention, again, that's why people are saying it looks scripted and it looks like WWE, because it's ridiculous. I'm sitting there looking at it just like, that's not you. Do you know what I mean? That is not you. If that was on the street, you wouldn't say nothing. Do you know what I mean? But yet, in front of the cameras, they're talking this and that, you know. That's not them. You know what I mean? Just be you. Just be a genuine person, and people will relate to you. If you're a dickhead, be a dickhead. People will relate to that. If you're a nice guy, people will relate to that. You know what I mean? Just be you.
Have you ever had to experience with that sort of fake trash talk before a fight? Have you ever had to deal with that?
No, I mean, I've had guys who say a few throwaway comments, you know, that's kind of get me riled up a little bit, but no, I've never had a fight where someone's kind of going at me and kind of trying to get to me that way. I don't know, it might be because I kind of don't do it myself, you know, but if someone did want to kind of trash talk me and that's what they needed to kind of feel whole or to feel powerful or feel like they've got an edge, let them do their thing. Because when you get in that cage and it's just you and him, you know, that cage door shuts, all his little teammates are sat in the crowd or sat in the corner or whatever, and then the truth comes out then, you know what I mean? So all the guys are saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Yeah, we'll see now, that door's closed, your teammates are out there, all your boys are out there, it's me and you now, so let's see what you're saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Now, a lot of elite MMA fighters are expressing their interest to transition to boxing and test the waters in that. You've been practicing your stand-up game here. Is that something you've thought about recently or you've ever thought about in your career? Was boxing ever an option for you?
Do you know what, when I was younger, the first ever bit of sport I did was boxing, you know. I did boxing for a little bit and then I kind of fell out, you know. Growing up, you find girls and partying and all that other kind of stuff, and then so I kind of forgot about that side of it, and then I moved on to the MMA. I do enjoy boxing, but it doesn't hold a kind of dear passion in my heart, you know. The guys who are looking at competing in the boxing, I don't know if they're doing it to get a big payday like McGregor's getting, or they're doing it because they enjoy competing, you know. So it all depends why they're doing it. I wouldn't mind having some boxing fights, I wouldn't mind having some wrestling matches, jiu-jitsu competition, you know, just because I love competing. So I'm not doing it for the payday or to try and get a little bit more hype, you know. So I feel like as long as the reasons are genuine why you're doing it because you enjoy competing, and it's not to kind of make a name like somebody else has done for yourself, then yeah, I feel like if you want to box, you want to wrestle, you want to grapple, you want to compete in MMA, compete as much as you can, you know, because when you win, it doesn't matter what competition it is. That winning feeling is like a feeling no money can buy, you know.
Now you have your own MMA academy in Bolton.
Yeah.
I presume you have a lot of young children coming in learning martial arts. How important do you think it is for the next generation to understand the importance of respect and growing up? Not necessarily that they want to go into a career, but how important do you think martial arts has been in your life?
Do you know what? The reason all that nonsense happened with the visas and all that other kind of stuff was before I found MMA, you know. I was kind of running a little wild when I was kind of growing up, lacking a little bit of direction and focus, in trouble a little bit, and that's what's kind of hindered me with the visa application, you know. Since I found MMA, I've never been in trouble, you know, never been arrested, never been any of this, and we're talking 9 years now I've been doing this, you know. So I get some parents saying, I want the kids to do this, but I don't want them kind of being violent and doing all this kind of stuff. I teach at my gym, Saul Rogers Mixed Martial Arts Academy. I teach from 5 years old, and honestly, I can take the most unruly, naughty child, and within a few months they'll be the most respectful, polite, healthy, you know, little child, you know, because it's not that kids are naughty. I don't believe kids are naughty. I just feel like the attention span is real short, and they always need stimulating. They always need to be seeing this or doing this or doing this. They have all this built up energy, and they don't know how to kind of express it. So you take a 5-year-old, for instance, they're going from being free to play, all that kind of stuff. Now they're at school, now it's sit down, shut up, you want to speak, put your hand up. And then obviously the mum and dad's probably been tired as well. They come home from work and they don't want to be dealing with the nonsense, you know. Just like me, some days you're tired and your kids are asking all these daft questions. So it's like they've not got an outlet to kind of express themselves in just the way they want, or just burn off this kind of energy that they've got built up. So kind of getting them some discipline, getting them some focus, getting them off the Xboxes and off the phones and off the tablets and all that other shit. I can't stand all that stuff. Getting them off that does wonders for kids, you know. And I tell them, even if they're not looking at competing ever in their life, just come and be a part of a team, be a part of an environment, be healthy, get off the couch and kind of learn life skills that are never going to leave you, you know. Even if you're never going to fight, you know, how do you know when you're going to be put in a fight, or whenever you're going to have to defend yourself and all that other kind of stuff. So I feel like self-defense, or people getting bullied, or just people needing to be part of a community and part of a team and feel accepted, get to a gym. Like, even if it's not my gym, get to a gym, train. And again, for any parents that kind of might end up watching, you know, further down the line, get your kids off the tablets, you know. Get the kids off the phones all the time and sat in front of the TV throwers. And that's not saying like never have it, you know, everything in moderation. But if they're coming home from school and they're kind of on the computers or in front of the TV all day and night, then I feel like something, not good for the development. Something has to change, you know. The health suffers, the social skills suffer, literally the brain function suffers. So just like I said, it doesn't have to be my gym. Just get him into a gym, get him into some sport, kind of take just be involved in them in some way or another, you know.
I know this is a long time away, but since you've been a part of that, been responsible for children changing their lives, is coaching ever something you've sort of pondered on after a career as an active fighter?
Yeah, I mean, I coach now. Like, I coach kids all the way up until pro fighters. You know, I've got some high-level amateurs. Got a couple good pros up at my gym, and like I say, I'm at my gym every night. I coach 3 nights a week as well. So it's not like I'm not doing the coaching role at the minute. The only thing that I'd say is I want to be a fighter at the minute, you know. So I'm maybe not doing as much as I could at the gym. When I finish up fighting, full time will be day and night. That'll be me. The coaching role is going to be kind of the be all and end all, the end game for me. You know, I never want to work a 9 to 5 or kind of work for someone who has to tell me to go here, do this, get up at this time, and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. So I feel like after the fighting, the gym's going to be my little nest egg. You know, that's going to be my retirement. So yeah.
Now I can see that you're very passionate about fighting, obviously, or else you wouldn't be a part of that. But can you explain the mindset of a fighter? Is there ever a time where your brain can switch off from thinking about it, or is it literally a 24/7 thing? You're constantly thinking about competing, training, coaching.
I feel like I have a good balance at the minute. A lot of guys I know, they train, and then when they're not training, they're kind of studying and all that kind of stuff, and that works for some guys. What I need to train when I'm on the way to training, I'm focusing on what I'm going to do, what I'm going to be doing, the notes I've kind of made, and the improvements I need to make. And so on the way, I'm getting in that zone. Warming up again, I'm in that zone. I do my session, I might ponder on it again on the drive home. But as soon as I get home with my kids and my family and all that, that's gone. That like bit different when you're in fight camp, because you can't get it off your mind. You know, you're brushing your teeth and it's on your mind. You know, you're going to sleep, it's on your mind. And my partner says I have like a kind of mad energy around me. You know, when I'm in a fight camp, I don't think I'm nice to be around. Not in terms of kind of being a bit of an idiot and stuff, but I kind of want to be on my own. I want to train, I want to come home and sleep. I don't really want to use my energy on anything but what I'm going to need for the fight. But apart from that, day to day, I'll come home, I'll leave here, and that's it. I'll go and play with my kids, I'll go and have food with my missus, and that'll be it till the next day, you know.